guys, thanks so much for watching the Social Life, the place to be for entrepreneurs with a purpose. We are moving right through this goal setting series, and I'm so excited if you're still here with me on this series. I know we're getting close to Christmas, and I just want to get you guys set up and ready to go. So this is one of the major parts of this whole series. It's really taking the aspect of where you want to be and the aspect of where you currently are, and now we're going to create a ladder to get you from where you are to where you want to be, so that we can start really designing that life plan. And in part 4, we'll start taking all of these things and moving them onto your calendar. So this part of the process for me is really where you have to get down to the brass tacks, if you will. Like, you have to figure out, what do I need to do at this point to get where I want to go? This is the part of the process that really shapes the next year of your life. So it is important to really spend some time here, and I'll try to explain the best I can how this piece of the process works. But if you've ever heard of OKRs, it's objectives and key results. This is really the tool that I use in order to build my objectives ladder for the entire year. So what are OKRs? Let's just start there. So OKRs are something that was designed by John Doerr. If you ever have a moment or you're looking for a new book, Measure What Matters is an amazing book, especially for businesses. Even if you just download it and listen to it as an ebook, it truly explains so much, and it just makes sense. So before, when I would be doing my goal planning and goal setting, I would just write out goals, and I would hope that I reach those goals at some point. And I never went the extra mile to really think about, like, is this a true objective? Like, what is it that I'm actually measuring? What am I actually looking for as a result? I never really spent that kind of time looking for those things. But ever since I have been using this method for about the past 2 to 3 years, I've been using this method, and it is absolutely incredible. I try to use it for all the aspects of my business, even aspects in my home, just looking at what the objective is. Like, what is it that I'm actually trying to accomplish, whatever that might be. So then on your next piece, then you're writing out your key result. Okay, like, what is the key result of that? So you have 2 things you're looking to do. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take out that sheet, the last sheet that you wrote on that had your area, where you are and where you want to be. You're going to look at that sheet of paper, and you're going to go from, okay, this is where I am and this is where I want to be. So how do I create the ladder from where I am to where I want to be? And you need to create objectives. Start with, what are the big milestones that we wrote in Life Vision Part 1? When you're in Part 1, we wrote out what those milestones would look like to get where you are, right? And on the live video that we did, we also did the same thing. So you're looking at those milestones. When you look at those milestones and you break them apart, just take one, take the most important one or the lowest hanging fruit, whichever one that you'd like to focus on this year. Take that one and look at, what would I need to do to achieve this milestone? Just so that you can follow along, understand that the objective is the what, and the KR, the key result, is the how you're going to achieve that, okay? So let's just say we're gonna go through the rooms in our home to determine what needs to stay and what needs to go as our first step in achieving organization in our home in our 5-year plan. And for this first year, we're just going to focus on, maybe let's call it purging. So purging is very broad, right? Nobody would ever know if you went through your house and purged or not. So now you would look for your key result. What would be the thing that is going to show you that you have actually accomplished your purging task? So if you have a purging task, then maybe you say, I'm going to go through 8 rooms, and I am going to get rid of, at least 50 items per room. Let's just say. This isn't the best example, but these are concrete things that I can go back and I can say, yes, I went through 7 of the 8 rooms and I got rid of 25 of the 50 items. So that means that you worked towards your goal, you did move the needle, but you didn't complete your goal. So the point of the OKRs is really to have something that you can refer back to at the end of the year, or at the end of any point in your year. You can look back and see, did I accomplish my goal? How far away from am I accomplishing? You're measuring the thing that's going to really give you the improvement or give you the final objective, okay? So the milestone is like, hey, I'm getting closer to my goal, which means if we can reach this milestone in 1 year, then we have made it much closer to the final goal, which is our 5 to 10 year goal. That's why I had you break it down in your first part of this goal setting series, because I wanted you to, while you were dreaming and thinking big and being optimistic, I wanted you to look at what would be a first milestone. So you're taking that first milestone and you are creating your objectives off of that first milestone. So on that, in part 3 in the worksheet, you'll see that it says first milestone, or milestone number 1, okay? And it has the area that you're choosing. And so you'd write the area, then you'd also have your milestone there. When you have that milestone there, then you're taking the objectives and you're writing down what objectives would I need to do. And I would say leave it at like 3 to 5 objectives. What objectives would I need to do to get to this point? Okay, because that milestone should be your full year goal, your 1 year goal. So at the very beginning of the program, or at the very beginning of the goal setting, you had your 5 to 10 year goals. You had the milestones that would get you there. And then you transferred those milestones here. Now, what I like to do personally is I like to take that inventory sheet and I like to look at the area that I was focused on. And I like to take what my issues are in that area. So as an example, maybe I'm a procrastinator, I'm not organized, there's lots of things that are there in that area that I could improve upon. So I like to write them on that page with my objectives and my key results for that ladder. And I do that as a reminder to myself that, hey, let's see if we met these goals. Because if we met these goals, if we're like moving that needle and we're meeting these goals, and I can check back in to see like, okay, where am I on this milestone? And I can see that I've made some progress. When you go back to look at the things that you are lacking in, you're proud of yourself, right? Because even despite these things that are on that list, you still are accomplishing your goal. And so for me, it's a nice way to know that, yeah, these are my traits. These are not like the best things, but it's my inventory. And this is what's working against me. With all of that being said, you want to go through each of those areas and basically you're creating a ladder. So if you have on your ladder 3 milestones, let's say, for each of those areas, then you create, say, 3 objectives for each of those milestones. So you have your milestone, objective, 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 okay? Now underneath those objectives, you're going to have what is the key result from this objective that would let me know that I've completed this objective. So if it's purging, how many rooms are you going to purge? How many items are you planning to donate or get rid of? And you can go and you can track that. You can say, I purged 5 rooms, 50 items each room. So that means that you're moving along on your goal. And it's something to look back on to say, I'm making a lot of progress, even if you don't actually achieve your goal. So it's something like if you have a business and say you want people to donate, or you want to build your social media or whatever it is, you have to have exact numbers that you want to reach so that you can actually measure how close you got to whatever that objective was. And it is a very rewarding thing. It's also a challenge. So it makes it a challenge. It's like, hey, I'm going to achieve that goal. Nobody else knows what your goals are, just you. So you think, I'm going to achieve this goal. I'm going to get this out there because I want to complete this, right? This is your personal thing. So how much you push yourself, how much you don't, what you meet, what goals you meet, which goals you don't is fine. But in this portion of the goal setting series, the goal of this part is truly just to build that ladder. So you're creating your ladder, you're creating your path. What am I trying to achieve here? Whatever those milestones are, you're creating the objectives underneath them, and then you're creating those key results that you're going to look for. So I would say you could probably have about 3 objectives plus 3 key results that you would be looking for. And in the next section, we're really going to talk about how we order those and how we figure out which ones to focus on first, and then move on to getting that onto your calendar. So I'm really, really excited that you guys are here. I'm so happy. I know I say it every time I close out these videos, but this is such a big process, but it's such a relief once you get it done. Then when you go through the year, you're just on autopilot. You're getting your events done. You're doing all the daily tasks that you need to get done. You're organized. You know what goals you need to focus on. You know what goals you need to bring your board and your supporters or anyone else who is supporting your business, what goals you're focusing on, how you can go back and show them what the measurements are. So really look at getting this piece complete. This will be the longest piece, I'm sure. It's one of the longer pieces for me, just because you really need to think through these objectives. You need to make sure you have good, concrete objectives. The what. What is it that you want to complete? And then your key results really need to be the how you're going to measure that it was completed. So really be honest with yourself. Be realistic. It's okay to not have huge goals in this first part of the planning process, because you really need to get an idea of what is possible and what's not. This part of the goal setting process is not to make you feel bad if you don't achieve it. It's to just get a realistic view of what your organization, what your life is like, and what you can actually accomplish in a year. But those goals and those objectives have to be at the forefront of what you're doing. So that's why I say take your word, take all of the things that you're looking at. Like when I look at my word, and I look at my business, and I look at all of the things that I need to do in order to meet these objectives, it truly is an optimization. There are a lot of things that I would have to do to optimize these certain areas. Like maybe I'm doing great in other areas, but in order to optimize that area, it's going to take a little bit more time for me to figure out which key results I need to focus in on. So this is a long video, and I apologize, you guys, but I really wanted to make sure that you had all the information you need for this section. So if you have not already downloaded the Socialife guide, go ahead and download that guide here. It's in the description box below, and you'll get all the areas of this section. So from the beginning of part 1, if you haven't watched that video, and part 2, if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch those 2 pieces. You can start the process at any time. Doesn't matter what part of the year you're in, you're just going to start your year from that point, if that makes sense. Doesn't matter when your year starts or ends. If you started this in March, it's okay. If you started in September, it's okay. You're just going to go from September to the following September. This is your life vision, your life plan. It's just something that helps you stay focused on what's important to your life and your vision of your life and your business. So anyway, with all that being said, you can also download this guide in the description box below. So yeah, don't forget to sign up for the Socialife Diaries. That's where I give all of my information as to dates and times for my live talks and any workshops or anything that's coming up that you guys need to know about. So be sure to sign up there and go ahead and join us in the Socialife Tribe. That's a place where you can meet other entrepreneurs with a purpose, doing the same thing you are on the same journey, and get encouragement and things like that. So thank you all so much for going through this series with me, and I will see you next week for part 4. Bye, guys.